Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November Walton Chamber Membership Luncheon. I'd like to ask Dr. Nathan Franklin to come forward to give our invocation, followed by the pledge. Will you all please stand?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for a chance to come together in fellowship as citizens of Walton County. We thank you for each person here today, each member representing their business and organization. Lord, bless the work that they do in our community. Now, at this time, Lord, we ask thanks upon the meal. We ask that we say thanks for the hands that prepared this meal. And ask blessings on the food, our bodies, and our bodies to our nourishment. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to thank our two sponsors today, Walton County Schools and Peach State Federal Credit Union. You will hear from Dr. Franklin later in the program, and when Bonnie Hayes comes to introduce our program today, she'll tell you a little more about Peach State Federal Credit Union. Now I'd like to ask Kenny Smiley to come forward and present our Walton Proud Why I Love My School contest winner.
Thanks, Rob. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be able to come up here and present these few awards. And first of all, I'm Kenny Smiley. I'm the chairman of the Walton Proud Committee with the Chamber of Commerce and get to work with a lot of representatives from the different school systems. And Walton Proud, 2 years ago, we launched the Why I Love My School contest. Had a wonderful contest, a lot of great entries. And this year has proven no different. This year's entries did not fall short, and it just made us realize even more what we already know, that we have got a bunch of great education opportunities here in Walton County. We received a lot of great entries, and it took the committee and the judges several hours to go through all of the entries and to come up with some of our winners. We're going to recognize our winners today, and then we also have some of our first place winners here with us today. So when I do get to your name, and if you are here, if you would be able to come up here, and Terry's going to present you with your prize winnings. And yes, they did. They won some cash, they won some gift cards, and it's just amazing to see what all they've done. So, from our kindergarten through second grade, our K2 division, our third place winner was from Loganville Christian Academy, Hudson Maddox. Our second place winner from Monroe Country Day School, Ben Crosett. And our first place winner from Social Circle Primary School, Ian Cuff.
This is Ian, and this is what he did for his school. I'll let you hold that when you stand up there.
All right, and then for our elementary division, third place, Loganville Elementary School, Elijah Tuning. Second place, Monroe Elementary School, Mackenzie Connor. And first place, Loganville Elementary School, Callie Collins. Congratulations. All right, in our middle school division, third place, Carver Middle School was Nicholas Nido. Second place, Youth Middle School, Reese Faulkner. And our first place, Loganville Middle School, Skyanne Williams. I hope I said Skyanne correctly. Yes. Awesome. And our high school division, third place, Loganville Christian Academy, Caroline Ross. Second place, Walnut Grove High School, Irina Buznitskaya. I think I got that. And first place, Loganville Christian Academy, Dana Lucas Jr. and Drew Kelly. They combined their efforts together.
I'm going to have all of y'all just slide over this way in front, and then Michelle's going to snap a few pictures of y'all, but we're going to play the rap song that Dana and Drew did for the first place. So Dwayne's gonna play that for us.
You need to sing and dance.
We're gonna sing and dance in a few minutes. Okay. So if y'all wanna, yeah, everyone's take pictures, go ahead and get some pictures, and he's gonna get that going. So it's a PowerPoint and a song, so you'll be able to follow the words along on the screen. And feel free to join in and sing with me.
Everybody walking to the next class. Tapping with the pen tap. Good teachers grading papers fast test back. Put the paper over when I read at. Earnings on the test with my teacher class. Backpack. Person to our class like a racetrack. Sitting in the chair, no fallback. Been through tough times, but you know we bounce back. LC in school with the best grades. Taking all these dubs, giving God praise. Worship in the gym on a Wednesday. Gotta stay strong for the kids pray. Started up the school in the Lord's name. Making bigger jumps, but we won't shake it. Filling up on muscle like a good steak. Never man-made with the gallery. Filling up the school, yeah, that way. Always get it late and I won't get it home. Liddy in the crowd, that's a big flame. In the fire and I'm lost in the same. Bringing 20 years and never gets old. Every day we ripping down blue and gold. Lots of tough days and they never gonna fold. And you know the love spreads around like a common cold. It's crazy. That's crazy. We're not lazy. With the wind in the school. Oh, wow. And I love to come to school just to see y'all smile. Many criticisms, so I hit a home run. Just too much good teachers are always going to win. Maybe you know what a bunch of nerds gonna fall apart. And I'll never leave because those days in my heart. Pull up in the building, every textbook. Passing back the papers with the good looks. Hey, walk up in the school where the kids at. Everybody walking to the next class. Walk fast. Click, clap, tapping with the pen tap. Click, teachers grading papers fast test back. Whoa, put the paper over where my grade at. Hundreds on the test with my teacher class. Open up a Bible finna preach that. Teacher should the gospel with the whole class. Teacher got a lesson spin straight back. Giving us direction like a roadmap. Talking academic, this is all lay. But if you catch some chord, it's the same thing. Swinging open pass to a teammate. And clouds not the only thing that you made. Whoa, pull up in the building, every textbook. Passing back the papers with the good look. Hey, walk up in the school where the kids at. Everybody walking to the next class. Clap, tapping with the pen tap. Teacher grading papers, pass the test back. Put the paper over where my grade at. Honey's on the test with the teacher class.
As you can see, we had representatives from all of our school systems and everything from art to sculpture to music to essays. I mean, just the whole entire gamut. So we've got some wonderful, talented kids out there. So once again, congratulations to all of our winners and everyone who participated.
Good afternoon. I am Bonnie Haynes, and I serve as the Business Development Representative for Peach State Federal Credit Union. Today, I'm happy to have our branch manager from the Monroe location here with us, Karen Brown. Karen, would you please? We are pleased to serve as a co-sponsor for the Education Summit today. Peach State was founded by educators over 55 years ago. Today, we remain an education-based credit union with our 49,000 members in 8 counties in the state of Georgia, as well as 8 in South Carolina. Our goal continues to be to service the needs of our members, one product at a time. Today, our program, we will follow accordingly. Dr. Dan Dolan is the headmaster with George Walton Academy, who will start our program off today. Christy Mondas, the head administrator at Loganville Christian Academy, followed by Dr. Rita Dickinson, founder and director at the Monroe Country Day School. Dr. Todd McGee, superintendent at Social Circle City Schools. Donnie Houston is the grandparent volunteer at Trinity Prep School. And closing out our program will be Dr. Nathan Franklin, superintendent of Walton County Schools. Dr. Dan Dolan, thank you.
My journey here to George Walton has taken me to both large communities and small, city-bound and rural. But I've never found a community to be so engaged in local education, so I applaud this group for their leadership in that effort. I'd like to first brag a little bit about our graduates. One of the graduation requirements of George Walton is that you are accepted to a college or university. Accordingly, 100% of our graduates were accepted. The acceptances included Harvard and Emory, SCAD, Furman, Georgia Tech, University of Georgia, and the Naval Academy, among others. 40% of our graduating class was accepted to the University of Georgia. 80% of those who applied to Georgia Tech Early Action were admitted. And the school raised about $4 million, just less than $4 million in scholarship money, not including Hope and Zell Miller. As many of you know, George Walton has benefited from steady leadership for nearly three decades. So what do you do when that leadership walks out the door? Well, I can tell you what we did. We engaged in a lot of conversations with students and parents and teachers, and reevaluated the role of our board. And when you do that, the floodgates begin to open, and great ideas just start pouring out. And I'd like to share some of those with you. We began a global studies program this year. So far, we've hosted students from Germany, France, and Spain. We've established partnerships in Spain where our students will go visit later this spring, and in South Africa where our students will go and study this summer. And as we speak, our associate head of school is in China promoting George Walton and looking for appropriate partners and students. Yet as we did all this year, we added several new positions. We added a college counselor. We added the school's first full-time athletic director. We added English, history, and PE teachers. We've added new positions in our communications office and our development office. And those additions have allowed us to introduce significant changes. For example, we've developed a 4-year plan for our high school students as they prepare for the college admissions process. That includes a tour of the Georgia colleges with our freshman class, where they generally stay within state, but occasionally will visit schools outside the state. We've added fencing to our athletic program. We're adding middle school lacrosse this year in the spring, and we expect to add riflery in the fall. The new teachers, along with a couple other shifts, have also allowed for new electives in math and English and history and science. And we've grown our art options exponentially. In PE, we created a 2-track program that allows students to choose between life sports and athletic performance. And those courses are taught by certified athletic trainers and a physical therapist. We've added an advisory program for every student from 8th grade through 12th, and next year we'll expand it to 6th through 12. We've added mentoring for new teachers. We formally introduced a peer tutoring program for before and after school. We created a parent organization called Dogs 360, where we have introduced a 3-fold mission. That is to build community, to ensure every student knows that his or her interest is equally valued and supported, and to meaningfully involve parents in the life and mission of the school. We've introduced a piano lab, and as you know, our school is well known for our music programs. And this band program, our piano lab, now allows for as many as 70 students to be taking piano lessons this year, and some as young as 1st grade. We've looked at our aftercare program and reevaluated its strengths and created a new program we're calling After the Bell, which involves mini courses and camps and available to all of our lower school students. And those mini courses and camps include things like guitar or dance or etiquette. We've increased our professional development budget by tenfold. In fact, on Monday, we shut the school down so that all of the faculty and staff could attend the Georgia Independent School Association's annual conference. We've sent teachers to visit schools around Georgia, in New Jersey, in Tennessee, in California, in Virginia, in Washington, D.C. to see what ideas they might bring back and we might introduce to our own community. We've introduced dual enrollment, or Move On or Ready as it's known in Georgia. To take advantage of that, and several of our students have enrolled this year. Next year, we'll be offering some of those courses on our own campus. That doesn't come for everything, as we've introduced new software to help with the college admissions process. We've introduced other software to help our students better understand what their strengths lie, where their strengths lie, where their aptitude is, where their interest is. We've introduced and have funded an annual speaker event that we introduced this year. It was hosted downtown to bring our students back in the evening, which meant that they came and they ate at all the restaurants before. And this year we enjoyed the words of a speaker named Brett Leak. And if you've not heard his story, I recommend you do. He has a compelling story to tell. In addition to over $300,000 of improvements and safety upgrades we've made on campus this year, we secured funding to create a top-tier cross-country course that will encompass the most of our 61 acres on our grounds. We've decided to move forward on renovations for our upper school media center and our cafeteria. As we look to next year, we've established a partnership with Duke University and Johns Hopkins University to do medical service in Belize. We're introducing a winter term where we'll have mini courses, internships, and international travel opportunities for service, cultural enrichment, or to earn academic credit. We're introducing a new schedule that will allow every student in grades 6 through 12 to have a study hall. We're considering adding 8 more APs to our already robust program. And so you may ask, what impact is all this having? Anecdotally, I can tell you that interest in George Walton is up over year to year. I also had 2 families just last week come and tell me that they're moving to Monroe to be closer to the school. One has a house under contract, and one is still looking. So I want to thank you for your time and your attention and your concerns for education. I encourage you to stop by George Walton and visit, spend a day with us, and see all of this in action for yourself. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. 20 years. That's the anniversary that LCA is celebrating this school year. So think about how old you were 20 years ago. I would venture to say that some of you were in high school. I was not. I was 32 years old when LCA opened. Now I want you to consider your current age and all that has happened in the course of the last 20 years in your own life, personally, as well as professionally. Now think about the culture, and specifically education. Have you ever considered how the advances in our culture have shaped the landscape of education over the course of the past 2 decades? I'd love for you to take your phone out. I'm going to ask you a question, and the first one to give me the correct answer gets a $25 Longhorn gift card. You can shout out the answer. You do not have to raise your hand. Okay, you ready? Who was the 15th Vice President of the United States? Seriously.
John Breckinridge.
Nicely done, John Breckinridge. Okay, I have a gift card for you at the end. Isn't it amazing that at the reach of our fingertips is the answer to the most obscure questions that we might have? Google it has become part of our language on a daily basis. Oftentimes it's our go-to for information. 20 years ago, children relied on the classroom teacher for knowledge. They were the keepers of all the things that children needed to know. And today, human interaction is no longer even required for children to access knowledge. Not only do we have Google and smartphones, Siri and Alexa are now on the scene. We don't even have to type our questions any longer. We can simply talk into our phones for information. And I would bet that these newly developed friends are also homework partners to many of our students today. You see, the methods for acquiring knowledge over the course of the past 20 years have changed. So it begs the question, is the acquisition of knowledge really the end goal of education? At LCA, we believe that a true education encompasses so much more than acquisition of facts. Children are learning to view the world through a biblical lens. They're learning to think, to question, to defend their positions, to be curious. They're learning to view decision-making through a lens that asks, is this wise, rather than is this wrong? Those are two very different questions. They're learning that leadership looks a lot like serving. They're learning that friendships are oftentimes hard. They're navigating disappointments for not making the team or not being chosen. They're learning about character and integrity and appropriate ways to leverage social media for good and not for harm. They're learning about responsibility by experiencing, dare I say it, failure along the way. All of these aspects of development come within the scope of receiving a true education. We believe there's a larger story that's being written in the heart of every child. They've been birthed for a purpose, and that purpose isn't simply to achieve academic excellence. Don't get me wrong, at LCA, we strive for academic excellence in every content area. We're seeing consistent increases in test scores. We're adding AP and dual enrollment courses annually. We have 2 students noted as National Merit Commended Scholars this year. And last spring, the class of 2017 earned 100% acceptance to UGA. But earning a 4.0 in isolation isn't our goal. We believe that God's called us to foster the spiritual and the social development of the students entrusted to us by like-minded families. I think all of us would agree that children are more than their intellect. They want to be seen and known, to have their strengths recognized, to have their weaknesses shepherded, to belong. They'll always need help from adults to shape and frame the knowledge that they are Googling. After all, knowledge and wisdom are 2 totally different animals. When LCA opened, the mission was and is to prepare students academically, spiritually, and socially for God's call on their lives. The goal was never to be a school that only the wealthy could afford or that only the gifted students could attend. As we grew through the years, however, we became concerned that that's exactly where we were. And so last winter, our trustees made a very strategic decision that's pretty much unheard of in the private school arena. We lowered our tuition rates. We want LCA to be accessible to any Christian family who desires education from a biblical perspective without sacrificing excellence or extracurricular activities. Next fall, we're expanding our educational support services for otherwise qualified students who also have a learning disability. We piloted 2 programs this year that have proven significant strides in addressing the underlying issues of the disability. And as a result of that intervention, we have students who are seeing success in the classroom for the very first time. It's very, very exciting. While much has changed over the course of the last 20 years, there are a few things that have remained the same. At LCA, we still believe that the parents are the primary educators. There's great value in creating a school schedule that fosters family time. We don't want to be a school in which students are experience-rich, but relationally poor. Parents are so busy running children from one experience to the next that there's no time for dinner around the table. And oftentimes, quality time only happens within the context of quantity time. The other thing that hasn't changed for us is our dependence on Jesus. I have a picture that hangs in my office, and we have a picture up. We're going to just put it up on the screen. This picture was taken in 1998 when we were given 19 of the 75 acres that we're currently housed on in Loganville. When we were given this property, we borrowed a school bus and we brought our 68 students out to the property, and we simply circled up and prayed for what God was going to do. And so for me, this is a constant reminder of God's faithfulness to us. It was one of the first God stories really along the way. It was an incredible day. We were so excited. But if you had pulled me out of the middle of that circle, first of all, I wore a dress. Why I did that to walk out to a property like that was not wise. But if you had pulled me out of the middle of that circle on that day and said, hey, listen, 18 years from now, you're going to be sitting around a table with your trustees defining gender so that it could be a part of the statement of faith in the school. I would have looked at you like you had 2 heads. Like, what? I would venture to say that there's nobody in the room who saw that coming. But it wasn't a surprise to the Lord. Not on that day, not today, and not what is coming in the future. We're trusting Him to continue to lead us. We've been given a group of students to prepare to be salt and light in a world that desperately needs hope. The past 20 years,
I've had the privilege, I've been there all 20 years, of seeing some incredible things happen, some really high highs. But the truth is, I think our best days are still ahead. We have not begun to scratch the surface on all that we see for the future of our students. It's my honor to serve alongside such an incredibly competent and gifted group of educational leaders. The students of Walton County are in good hands in any one of the schools represented today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rita Dickinson. I'm sure many of you in this room know me. I retired from the Walton County Schools, and I guess I just wasn't ready to sit at home. So I decided to open a school that I thought would serve a certain niche in Walton County. I didn't realize I was going to pull children from Morgan County, Gwinnett County, from so far away, even Oconee County, to Monroe. But like I believe George Walton said, I have families that have actually moved to this county to be closer to the school. Monroe Country Day School is what's called a micro school. It is, again, I'd say a niche school, or you might think of it as a boutique school. It serves just sort of like the clothes that fit me last year do not fit me this year. It's the same. Every child does not fit necessarily a large classroom or a large school setting. We are a small school. When I opened, my plan was to open with 25 students and add 25 students each year till we met full capacity at 125. We opened with 26 last year, and we have 54 that we've opened with this year. So we have surpassed what my goals were. As every school knows, no matter how large or small you are, there's that point where the economy of size, and I've sort of gone through my 5-year plan and picked out what those economy of sizes are. So you can only grow at a certain rate with the amount of space that you have. We have recently bought what was the old Grace Baptist Church, so that we hopefully will move our middle school and high school over to that building if I ever get through the code. And so, some of you who have Jayhawk, I will be calling you soon to help me sort of get through those waters. I remember Dr. Burke said to me once that he was going to retire before he had to do another building project. Now I understand why. That might actually send me to retirement. Okay, Twain, if we go to the next. This is my founding board. Most of them have stayed with me. Only a couple have gone off, and a couple come onto the board to help me. I have a very hard-working board. They understand our mission. Because when I opened the school and I said 25 students, I said, this is going to be a breeze. I mean, when I started teaching at Carver, I had 38 kids in a class. I'm like, I could do 25 kids myself. I quickly felt like the 5 teachers I had that I started with were not enough. But you can go to the next one. Country Day School is actually a model that comes out of progressive education. Montessori schools came out of that same progressive education model. That model was originally started after the Civil War, basically. Not right after the Civil War, but after people realized that we had sent our brightest and best men off to war and then they were killed off. People weren't so eager to send their kids to military academies or off to private schools anymore. They wanted to keep their children close to them. So the Country Day model was originally sort of for your more wealthy families, because the idea was that these families had domestic servants and the children were not learning how to take care of themselves. They weren't learning the skills that they needed to be good philanthropists and good citizens in the future. So the idea was that you would have a school nearby that would teach the good academic and the good life skills that you would get at a good boarding school, and that's why it's called day school. You can go on. Curriculum, let me see, why now Monroe? It's the same thing I said. Every model does not fit every student. There's not a school that will speak today that I have not recommended to a family that they check out that a particular school. I listen to the family, what they're looking for with their child, and I will tell them that isn't gonna work here, that's not what we're about. And I will send them on, and I'll suggest who they call to go to find a school that fits their child. Our school is very personalized education. I talk to almost every child every day. We talk, I sit down with my teachers weekly, we go over academically and socially where that child is, what we need to be working on. I have to break the news to some parents that I will not be working so concerned about academic progress with their child. I'm going to be more concerned about social progress with their child. And that's what we will concentrate on. So it is a very different personalized education. Country day schools have integrated curriculum. We use it was written by Dr. Hirsch from the University of Virginia. He wrote Cultural Literacy, that if you're an educator, you probably read in graduate school. But the curriculum has social studies and science is integrated into your reading and literature. So they're learning about all their subjects at one time. We teach ag as our life science. They are working in the dirt. They're learning about rocks. They're learning about how things grow. So you don't learn in things in silos. And I know I'm not, because I taught public school and I worked in public school. I love public school. But we still in high school taught. I taught either science or I taught art. I did not integrate with the other teachers because I couldn't. I mean, all the kids in my class had different teachers. They were in different grades. I could not integrate the curriculum. The only other school that uses the curriculum that we use is Oconee Academy at Lake Oconee. That is a charter school. And I talked about the personalized integration. Community service, they have to clean the school themselves. They are responsible for the grounds. They get called in by me if I look at the playground, I see trash on the playground. There's always consequences and everybody's still like, oh. I have to admit, I wrote curriculum and I taught 5th through 12th grade, so I wasn't real familiar with kindergarten and 1st grade when I started. And the first time they sent a kindergartner to me to talk to, I'm sitting at the table looking at this little kid and I'm like, oh my God, I can't use my normal lectures with this child. So yesterday, a child in 1st grade had said a word he shouldn't say and they sent him to me and, you know, you face this, and I looked at him, I said, that's a word you can't use till you're 21. When you're working and you're paying your own bills, then that's between you and God. I hope you don't use it then, but that's a 21-year-old word. The teachers all laughed at me, they're like, where did you go? I'm like, hey, I don't know. I'm used to older kids. I'm not used to this kindergarten, 1st grade, but we are accredited. We're accredited by the Georgia Accrediting Commission. I will never be SACS accredited because SACS has certain boxes you have to be in. I'm not getting in those boxes because I have opened this school to be different from what I did for all those years. So I'm not getting back in that box. Okay. And we're 8:30, oh, I forgot to change this. We do end at 3 this year because we're going 180 days this year. We have tours every Thursday. It does not matter if you're not planning on putting a child there. I have lots of people who stop by who said they either taught or they went to the Johnston Institute and they just want to look at the school. So our students are used to people coming through. The teachers are used to be opening the door and showing people the school. So any Thursday, if you would like to stop by and see the school, you are welcome. I love it if you call because then I can tell Christy you're going to be there and I can get somebody else to give the tour. You can visit us on Facebook, our website, or again, stop by any Thursday or call Christy Slaughter McDevitt. Many of you probably know Christy. She is our admissions director. That's it. But if you want to know any more, you can just talk to me after this. Thanks.
First, I want to know where Christy Mond is preaching on Sunday. That was great. We have a lot of changes going on in Social Circle. First, our board chair, who's been on the board 24 years, Tim Lemons, is stepping down at the end of this year, and he's been super. I think he's tired of people asking him
why'd y'all hire that McGee fellow? But the truth is that was his insurance, that he'd always have somebody that had to look up to him. But John Callahan's going to be our new board chair. He had to resign from the board to run for board chair, and Patrick Daly has been appointed to that spot. And then last night, Sabrina Joyner-Flint, Rico Jackson, and Tanya Lumpkin were all elected. So we're basically going to have an all-new board starting in December. So that's exciting times. Grants, I want to thank, if anyone's here from Walton EMC, they provided opportunities. Each one of our schools received some grants from Walton EMC last year. I think there's a picture later on that shows that. We are a PBIS system, and we concentrate on safety on a daily basis. This year we have a new sign-in system at each of our schools. It's a similar system to what Dr. Franklin and his schools have in Walton County, where you show your license, so put it in a machine, and it prints you out a thing and checks criminal records, that kind of thing, just to keep our schools safer. Talked about our Board of Ed changes. This year we are concentrating, we have two initiatives, one in math and one in literacy. Sarah Lynn Holbert, who's with us, is concentrating on the literacy efforts, and Lori Allison's doing the math initiative, and we're doing that school-wide just to work to try to keep improving our scores and academic achievement in those areas. Our star rating has come out, and it's higher than it's ever been in Social Circle. We've got primary school and elementary school with 5-star climate ratings, and the middle and high school are both up at 4 stars, so we're excited about that. All of our schools improved their CCRPI rating, and that's a big deal for us. I will tell you that every year they kind of change how they judge us on CCRPI, so it's a little bit of a moving target, but we have continuously improved, and we've had an 11.9% improvement since they first started doing CCRPI in 2012. At the primary school, that's a picture of Darlene Favors and April Birdfin, our administrators there. They've had an addition of a sensory room at the school for special needs students they're real excited about. They've also added a STEM exploratory class for the students at that school. And we're real proud of Kathy Harris, one of our preschool teachers, who was one of the finalists for Preschool Teacher of the Year this year in the state of Georgia. At the elementary school, they've implemented a class dojo that's a motivational tool for students and parents. They're also participating in the growth mindset professional learning, actively using the approach to encourage students to take risk, to embrace mistakes, and to see themselves as members of the learning community. And they have a new team concept, and everyone in the school is part of, there's 4 teams, and from the custodians to the administrators and teachers and students, everyone is a member of a team, and they're using that as a motivational for the students, and it's just going real well. Ms. Pritchett and Ms. Hargrove have been real excited about that. And at the middle school, there's our new principal, Ms. Lottie Alzamati, and her assistant, Craig Hargrove. They're excited that their softball and football teams made the playoffs this year. And they've had great participation in student-focused events. Also, they were our highest school in CCRPI. They were like at 83% with the CCRPI score, and showed a great improvement. And again, it's the highest score of any of our schools, and we're excited about that as well. There's Dr. Brewer and Mr. Armstrong at the high school, and their most glowing achievement is that our graduation rate has reached 97% at the high school, and that's the 3rd highest among city school systems in the state. It's 30th in the state overall, so that's quite an achievement. Dr. Brewer and her staff have accomplished. We've continued to improve the number of students that are participating in dual enrollment. I believe over half of our senior class is either doing dual enrollment or taking AP courses to earn college credit, so we're real excited about that. They also had the System Teacher of the Year, Laura Smith, who our health occupations program is the best I've ever seen. We have students that are getting their CNA, and 100% of her students pass and get the recognition and the certification in that course. We've also added a engineering pathway at the high school this year. We started that with 9th graders, and it's a pathway. They'll be doing some CAD design activities by the time they're seniors. And I believe over $500,000 in scholarships for the high school seniors last year. So we are on a journey one step at a time. That's a picture of some of the grant recipients from Walton EMC that I was telling you about earlier. We did look at the solar eclipse, and no one's claimed eye damage, so we're excited about that. We have implemented at the high school, middle school, a new class where our band director's teaching guitar. And I think in the elementary school they do ukulele, and then when they get to the high school they're doing guitar, and that's a brand new program for us this year. And we continue to add computers. We're on a one-to-one initiative that we're still rolling out. We're not there yet, but we've added computers and technology at each campus. Our cheerleaders have consistently qualified for the state tournament in Columbus. And that's about all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Donnie Houston, and I've got grandkids at Trinity, and that's how I get there. How I happen to be one of those volunteers, and I have the distinct problem of never saying no. So that's why you get to hear me today up here talking about the school. Christy, I do remember talking to you about 6 years ago when I had these grandchildren that I'm raising, and we decided we were too old to do homeschooling. And so we were looking for a school, and I remember we came out and we talked to LCA at that point in time. But with me today, she won't come up here and talk, but I do have Tammy Moore. Tammy, stand up. Tammy Moore, she founded Trinity 1999 with 6 kids. And then I think it was 6 years ago when we were looking, I had one that was fixing to go into the 8th grade, and so at that point in time, Trinity went to the 8th grade. And she said, well, we're adding a grade each year. Fantastic. I'll make sure that you add a grade each year, because I've got one that's got to continue on. So we started that process, and Michelle Brown, Michelle, you stand up too. Michelle Brown handles the high schoolers, and she also handles the enrollment that we do at Truett Common. So we started that endeavor, and then in 2011 we bought 9 acres across from Maxie Price Chevrolet, right off of 78 there on Commerce, and then moved in January 2013. We moved into our new 20,000 square foot facility. We had, I think, 140 kids at that point in time. Now we have 250 kids. We've had 2 graduating classes, working on the 3rd. I think we can boast that 100% of our kids are dual enrollment with Truett College, 100% of our seniors. And so we have progressed a long way. In addition to that, we have also just gotten approvals. We are adding a gymnasium. I asked the superintendent today when it's still going to be here, and he said, I get told every day tomorrow. So maybe next week we'll have steel start going up. It'll be more visible from 78 as you come back. but we're adding a gymnasium and 15 more classrooms because currently we're having our high schoolers, we're having to rent facilities across the street of the church to house some of the classes because we've run out of classroom space. We try to have a total learning experience. The kids are hands-on, they're hands-on with everything. They help at the school. Everybody pitches in. And then also our classroom size, in order to have that really excellent learning experience, our classroom size is 14, and the upper grades is 16. So we're striving to keep that very low classroom size. We think that enhances the learning experience, and that we will produce better, more well-rounded students coming out of the program. We take the kids on trips, the high schoolers especially go on a lot of trips. And as you can see there, we've been to Gettysburg and Pennsylvania, and we've been to Jekyll Island. And last year they went to Costa Rica. And during these trips, they're always, like when we were in Pennsylvania, we actually went out and to the Amish community, and we actually went out and we had dinner at an Amish farm, and the kids got to ask them any questions that they wanted to, like, how do you live without a cell phone? Those kind of really important questions. And then they went to Costa Rica, and each one of these trips is tied to missions, because we're faith-based, so it is tied to missions. And so there's something that is happening in each one of the trips where they're getting a hands-on learning experience again. I didn't get to go on the Costa Rica trip. My granddaughter told me that I couldn't go, that I'd probably fall and break something because when we were in Gettysburg on the battlefield, I fell and broke my foot, and I was down for 6 months. So that was, but that's something. And I think this year they're going to New York, and they're going to be working with an inner city group there while they're in New York this year. Okay, that's some more pictures of our groups on the various trips. And then like I said, we're very hands-on. They are always having something to do. And I know someone said about the learning experience about failure. Well, that's how you learn. That's how we learn in business, is we learn through failure. So I think that is really good. It is a lot more than just textbook learning. We have, as I said, we're very faith-based. We're a non-denominational Christian school. Our curriculum is faith-based also, and we have our start every morning with prayer, and then they have praise. The elementary schools have praise and worship. The high school does too, and in fact, the high school runs some of those praise and worships. So that's really good. Tammy loves animals. When we built the building, we had a 1,000-gallon aquarium to go in the media room's wall, and it has predators in it. We have sharks and lionfish and all in this 1,000-gallon tank. It was an experience getting that tank into place. It's very, those things are really heavy. But as she's got up on the slide there, we've got 31 animals. We actually have a room dedicated to the various types of animals. We've got a touch tank for the kids, and they love that they can go and they can pick up a starfish and actually touch some of the sea creatures that are there. We also have a guy, let's see, there he is on the bottom left there. That's Rex. Okay, Rex is a 110-pound tortoise. He's 38, 39 years old. And then we've got 2 baby Rexes that will grow up to be big one day too. But he has freedom out of the school. He can wander around the school, and the kids think it was last Christmas before last, I went out there one day, and here comes Rex down the hall, and he's got Christmas lights on. So he is quite unique. Next slide. We've got a sports program, and being a young school and having few students in our high school area at this point in time, sports are a challenge. Our basketball team this year, our volleyball team this year, the girls volleyball team. My granddaughter was the only senior that was on the girls varsity ball team, and we had 8th graders playing up on the varsity. So we have a unique thing there, but we did finish 3rd. So that was also a very plus for us. And we've got the same issue with our basketball. So we've got volleyball, we've got basketball that we're currently doing. We're hoping that we can add softball and maybe cross country. We're working on a ball field on the other side of the school from where the gym is being done. So the sports is a growing process. We're trying to get it done. We've got an athletic association, and they are very active and support the sports totally. And this is where I was talking about that we were growing. They actually did finally break ground. It's always an opportunity. The mayor is here, and we appreciate his assistance in all this process to get this new gymnasium underway. But in March, hopefully we will have this gymnasium finished. And so for next school year, it will be a totally different experience for our kids. Because now we have to go to a church, a couple of churches that we rent facilities from to practice. And so therefore their practices are limited. And we go play, we play somebody like Peachtree, who has a beautiful facility down there. And those kids every day go out there and shoot basketball every day, and that's a whole lot of difference from when we can only get a gym between 4 and 6, a few times a week. So now that we'll have a gym, that will also help our kids to improve the sports. One thing that is it just made me feel good, is I had last season, I had a coach from one of the other teams that we played to come up to me after the game and say, y'all's kids are the best, most polite team that we play. And that made me feel good. That meant that the school is doing something right. We're teaching them sportsmanship, and whether we win or whether we lose by major points, like in some schools that we play, we lose by major points, they still come off with a smile, they don't get upset about it, and it's a learning experience. They're there to honor God, and they're there to learn how to play the game. Was that the last one? I can't remember. Yep, that was the last one. So, just to say, speaking of it from a parent standpoint, because I've had these grandchildren for 9 years, but speaking of it from a parent standpoint, Trinity is doing a good job, as does all the other schools that are open today. Everybody is doing a great job. These kids are our future. They're going to be the guys sitting out there where y'all are sitting in the not too distant future. And it is very, very important that they get a quality education and they get the reality of life. They get to understand and learn what life is really about. The projects that the winners had today, they were great. That is such an encouragement to see that happening. That people are participating, they're hands-on, and we're looking forward to the growth of Trinity over the next year. We got to fill up those 15 other classrooms so that we can go to the next phase. But we do appreciate your time today.
Some information to to hopefully to provide your organization some more talking points and what we might not be able to cover in 5 minutes. We invite you all to come find us, come see us, come to our schools, and let us tell you much more about our organization. Walton County School District serves just at 14,100 students in pre-K through 12th grade. Our average 5-year growth is 100 students. Out of our roughly 17,500 students in Walton County, we serve about 81% just in the Walton County School District. Another way to look at that is 139 regular buses, 31 special needs buses that travel 1.6 million miles every year in Walton County. We're a large county, as you know. You may not know that 31 different languages are now spoken in Walton County schools. 31. You probably also wouldn't guess, other than Spanish being number 1, the next fastest growing foreign language in Walton County. Does anyone want to guess?
Russian, Korean.
Hmong. You may not have even heard of that. H-M-O-N-G. The Hmong people were allies during the Vietnam War, and our country promised them after the war to provide a certain point of refuge for, and many of them have taken advantage of that. The Hmong population are quickly growing in Walton County. We employ over 2,000 people. I think we're still the largest employer in Walton County. We enjoy a 95% retention rate, which is a huge benefit to our children every day. You don't have to get too far outside of Walton County to hear the needs in terms of education, the shortage of teachers even after school starts. That is a big deal for the citizens of Walton County. You see some other information about our certified staff members. We're also excited, and I really was surprised at being the 4th highest take-home pay for Georgia teachers in public schools. That doesn't mean we have the highest or the 4th highest pay scale, but our teachers go home with the 4th highest amount of money in their pockets. And a big part of that is we attract a veteran staff member on average, and that's a big deal for our children as well. We're certainly one of the fastest growing and largest districts in Georgia. We're roughly 85% of the size chart. Even though we still have some of those small town feels, we are considered a larger district in the state of Georgia. Facility-wise, we have 17 facilities, including 9 elementary schools, 3 middle, 3 high schools, a board office, and a Board of Education annex where our support departments are housed, and that's at the old Walker Park Elementary School, where Cold Springs and Highway 11 intersect. As you know, we're divided into 3 clusters, a Loganville, Monroe, and Walnut Grove cluster. We're so blessed to have an average facility age of around 13 years, while the national average is 40 plus. That's also a big deal, and certainly that's made possible by our penny sales tax that we're so fortunate to have. It's been mentioned already, but we also take a lot of pride in our state-of-the-art technology, our one-to-one technology initiative for really K-12. Now, we're certainly proud of that to be several years into that. Facility renovations. I'm not going to name all of these, but just in the last year or so, look at what we've tried to do to take care of what you've helped us provide. Every one of these have been made possible this past year or so with our penny sales tax. Our last full school that we opened, a replacement Loganville Elementary School by itself, a $20 million project, that's $2 billion of those pennies. And simply stated, we would much rather that Georgia fan that might come from Gwinnett County, that might stop at Quick Trip in Loganville to fill up, help us pay for our schools as they're on their way to the game instead of only your rooftops, for lack of better words. We are so blessed to have that program. He lost 5, our 5-year sales tax will begin January of 18. Our voters have graciously already approved that last year. Currently, we have an ongoing project, Youth Middle School. I think we have a picture up there. We finally poured slab, steel goes up today. 14 classroom addition there to bring that middle school up to par and to plan for the future. 8 of our 15 schools have been fully paid for with ELOS. We're on our 4th cycle, the 5th year of the 4th one, so to speak. Before that, our older schools, which will be next up for renovations, if they've had additions, those have also been paid for by that penny sales tax. A little bit about performance. We're certainly excited, and congratulations to Social Circle, especially with that 97% graduation rate, 82.3, the highest ever graduation rate this past year for Walton County. And others haven't mentioned it, but in public school, whether we like it or not, and whether you realize it or not, that special education child, like my middle son, who might follow his IEP and follow his goals and make progression and one day graduate, because he didn't take 4 math, 4 sciences, and the other prescribed things in the state of Georgia, he will count as a dropout. All those children will, okay? And there's a lot of things like that that you may or may not know behind that graduation rate. Certainly, we're excited about our most recent results on our Georgia milestones in the grade test and in the course test. And in a nutshell, basically every grade level and every area made improvements versus last year. We're excited about that. Achievement is up in Walton County. 100% of our dual enrollment students earn college credit for 16 and 17. If you have a child in school, you need to educate yourself on dual enrollment. That is a no-brainer. It's a big deal. You would think with the growth of dual enrollment, our AP programs would suffer, but it's been quite the opposite. We've made tremendous growth in the number of kids involved in AP programs, the number of tests taken, and the number of passing scores, meaning a 3, 4, 5, on our kids that get college credit, and we're certainly excited about that. I believe we lead the district on that, and Monroe High School, especially even in our district, leads the pack in terms of AP achievement and AP scores. We're excited about that. 102 advanced placement scholars. Some of the information on your item on your table there has even updated since that publication, and advanced placement scholars is one of those. Some quick budget numbers for you to give you a scope of what we're dealing with. Our general operating budget, our M&O budget, maintenance and operation budget this year for FY18, $116,716,000 and some change. Village rate sits at 21.60. That's 1/2 a mil less than FY17, and we're certainly proud to stand before you and say, as fellow taxpayers, that that's a reduction of 1.9 over the last 4 years. We hope we can continue that trend. As you know, in your organizations, the rising cost of people is quite an issue in everything that we do, and it certainly is for us because we're in the people business with 2,000 employees. Okay. Also, to put it in perspective, our local property tax revenue still remains, and we're lucky that the economy is inching forward, but it still remains $4.5 million less than FY09, in case you were wondering. A few budget highlights inside this year's M&O budget of $116 million, as proposed by the governor, a 2% raise for certified and classified employees. Increases in healthcare costs, as you know in your business, for us, both certified and classified employees. Increases in teacher retirement services to maintain that service for our educators. With baby boomers retiring and that 10-year crunch, less people contributing. Actuarially speaking, TRS had to write the course, and so essentially we have to pay more for our employees on that. Finally, making it back to that traditional 180-day calendar and 8+ new teaching and support positions district-wide for our continued growth in the district. We're certainly proud of our Board of Education. We have a veteran Board of Education. They've been there, they've done that, and I can't tell you how important it is to have a Board of Education that gets along while they come from different walks of life with different opinions. When it comes down to doing what's best for kids, they sit down at a table and we come up with what's best for kids to move our district forward, and that is worth its weight in gold. You don't have to go far. You can pick up the newspaper, watch the news, and see other areas around the state of Georgia and this country where that does not happen. Our board is recognized as an exemplary board. They're one of only 38 boards out of 180 in the state of Georgia, and have gone to the highest level of governance training, and the difference that it makes for our kids is tremendous. We want to recognize them as well. Looking ahead in Walton County, certainly to continue our motto of a pursuit of excellence in areas of academics, arts, and athletics, certainly to increase the graduation rate and all our other achievements, and to expose our kids more than ever to the career and college opportunities that are out there for them, even inside of Walton County. We invite you and your organizations to help us get our kids to you. We've had some great examples here lately to do that, to show them the industry and other opportunities in Walton County, and we want you to come to us. We want to expose those kids face-to-face on the availabilities to them. Facilities upgrades and renovations. We have just kind of ended a very aggressive 10-year capital outlay or facility building list of projects. We're happy to say we have tremendous space and capabilities in our school district. I think we're down to maybe only 1 or 2 mobile learning cottages, as we like to call them. And that's very rare. I hope you realize how rare that is to have that capacity and the newness of facilities. And now it's time to take care of what we've got. Our 5-year facility plan, as identified by the Department of Education, includes heavy renovations at 8th Road, Bay Creek, Water Grove Elementary, and Loganville High School. Loganville High School is also due up for an auxiliary gym and roughly 8 classroom addition. That's probably up next, and that'll bring that high school space-wise up with our other 2 high schools and prepare us very well for the next 5 years. We are going to try to make it at least 5 years without having to consider a new standalone school in the beginning of, yes, cluster number 4 in Walton County as we continue to grow. We ask you to visit our schools, let us know how we can better serve your business needs, and we are here to help the economic development of Walton County. I want to invite you to, if you've never been on one, on November 14th, to sign up for our bus tour and come see all the educational opportunities for yourself in Walton County. I can promise you, if you haven't been in a while, it's not the same student learning the same things that you might remember in high school or middle school or elementary. It's amazing what our kids are doing. You can see maybe what less than 0.5% of 1% might be doing on the news or on social media. The other 99.5 something will greatly impress you with the amazing things that they can do in our schools, in all of our schools. So please make sure you come and check those out. And finally, be sure to connect with us. We are going crazy on social media, anything you want. We have a great video on our website that might help your organization in your work. So check that video out. I know there's not time to show it today. It's an honor to serve with you in Walton County.
I'd like to thank all the speakers today, and Callan, if you'll come on up. Callan Moore, the Public Relations Officer of the Walton School District, is going to present our Member of the Month.
Okay, hurry up. The Member of the Month must be a member of the Walton County Chamber of Commerce. They must have been in existence for at least 2 years. They must project a positive image on the community and must have donated resources to our community. A Member of the Month can only be awarded the same member once a year, and past members of the year recipients are not eligible. It is a privilege today to present our November Member of the Month. This month, we are honoring a company who is continually active in our community. The company has been in business here in Walton County and a member of the Walton Chamber since 2006. Their employees have been involved in several community activities through the Walton County Chamber of Commerce. They have served as ambassadors, members of the Business Expo Committee, Education Committee, Marketing Committee, and, well, just about every other committee the Chamber offers. They have helped with our annual golf tournament as well as the Chamber's annual meeting. They have also had several Leadership Walton graduates and several past and present members on the Chamber Board of Directors. Other community involvement includes United Way, Kiwanis Club, Monroe Rotary Club, Relay for Life, and I'm certain that there is much more. On their website it states, "Ours is truly a unique brand. We embrace core values of God, family, and integrity. We endeavor to consistently do the right thing in meeting the total needs of families and businesses that rely on us. And while personal service is our signature, we have welcomed technologies that enhance your experience and that make your life easier." The person who nominated this member said, "This is a great community bank, always there to help the community and small businesses." So today we are proud to present the November Member of the Month Award to Liberty First.
Congratulations to you and your team, Dawn. Okay, so I know we're running a little bit behind. I'm going to be really quick, but we do have some new members we want to recognize. So if you'll stand up and give us your name and company name so we can welcome you to the chamber. Whoever wants to start.
Hello, everyone. My name is Grant Toth. I'm with Life South Community Blood Centers. We are located in Loganville, Harrison Road, right behind the Aldi. We have a mobile bus that goes around Walton County every day.
I'm Holly Butler, the professional organizing. I'm a member.
My name is Ricardo Brown. I'm a software company that develops point-of-sale softwares, inventory management, and multi packaging.
Good afternoon, I'm Lee Muncie.
I'm Rita Bright.
And we're co-owners of La Madame Boutique in Loganville, Georgia. We're a ladies' boutique. We are in the shopping center in front of the post office, right next to Subway and Johnny's Pizza. That's where we're at. So come see us, girls.
And guys to shop, right? And guys
Yeah,
to shop
men
for the
too.
girls,
Yeah.
Does that get everybody? Okay. So a few announcements. If you look at the back of the program, I'm going to mention a couple of things. Nathan mentioned the bus tour. If you want to see in person what you heard today, we would love to have you come on the bus tour. We have a few seats left available. We already have 30 signed up to attend. So we have a few seats left available. If you want to be on the bus, just let Connie know before you leave today and she will get you signed up.
It starts about 8 o'clock that morning and goes until about 4 that afternoon. So you will travel to see all of the schools you heard from today. So we invite you to come to that. And then the very first thing on the back of your program is our buy local promotion that we're kicking off today. So if you buy local from a Walton Chamber member between now and December the 12th, you bring your receipt to the Chamber office, we'll make a copy of it. You'll be entered into a drawing that we'll draw here at our December lunch, and you will receive $250 cash, and the member you bought from will receive $100 cash. So that is a buy local promotion for the holidays. We hope that as you start your holiday shopping, or continue it if you've already started, that you will consider our local folks to buy from. And you can check waltonchamber.org to find out which companies are chamber members. So we encourage you to take advantage of that and win some cash at the next lunch. Thank you so much to our speakers and for our schools for all that you do. Congratulations again to our Why I Love My School contest winners. They all did a great job. Thank you to Dwayne Embry for all of our equipment running today. He always gets to come help us on this day to run all of the equipment. And thank you to Walton County Schools and Peach State Federal Credit Union for sponsoring. And I think we have a few door prizes. Those that stuck around for a little while, we'll go ahead and draw for those. Bonnie said she put a few of her favorite things in the bag. So Bonnie, why don't you draw first?